Hi, this is Trey Basser. I wanted to do my top favorite films of 2016. I was going to try to narrow it down to 10, but I just have more movies that I like, so I'm going to leave it at the top 20. But they're not going to be in any particular order, except for my number one movie, which I'll save for last, and that's the movie that I thought was the best movie of this past year. Okay, that movie I'll save for last, but these next movies, 19 that I'll read to you, will just be movies that I loved in no particular order. I was trying to rank them, but there's certain things I like about all of them, and since it's my channel, I can do it any way I want, right? So, honorable mentions first, before I get to my top 20. Honorable mention is, of course, The Legend of Tarzan. I really like that movie with Alexander Skarsgård and Samuel Jackson and, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Margot Robbie. I really like that. I mean, it was an updated version of Tarzan, and I liked it. I thought it was good for what it was, and it really entertained me. Uh, of course, The Magnificent Seven, the remake, of course, with Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt. I really liked it by Anton Fuqua. It was just a really good Western, and Denzel Washington is a total badass, as we already knew that, but even more of a badass as a cowboy. He was just really good. I love that movie. I'm a big fan because I love Westerns. And anyway, next movie is Sausage Party from the mind of Seth Rogen. The movie is just incredibly funny, raunchy, and everything you want to, and just animated beautifully, and just completely over the top. And the orgy at the end is just beyond anything that you'll see. It's really just a crazy movie, but really, what can you expect? It was really fun. I really laughed my behind off watching Sausage Party. Okay, next movie is The Shallows. This is a movie starring Mrs. Ryan. What's her name? Damn, I can't think of her name. I can't think of her name. I can't think of her name. But basically, it's about a girl. It'll come to me. She went on vacation. She goes down to where her mother basically used to surf. Her mother had passed, and of course, she gets trapped by a shark, and she has to fight for her life against the shark. Uh, and hold on for a minute. Hold on. Blake Lively. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember her name for a minute. Blake Lively, but just a really intense movie. I had a lot of fun with that, and really was quite done, quite well actually. Okay, so that's my honorable mentions. Okay, now again, these 19 are in no particular order, except for my number one movie, which is my number one movie that I thought was the best of the year. Okay, The Edge of 17. This is the movie starring Haley Stanfield, and it's basically I don't know if people see, it was kind of like an independent movie, and it's basically the story of a girl who she's always felt different. You know, she has an older brother who's like the perfect child and stuff, and she's always close with her father, and her father unexpectedly dies, and you know it's her mother, and her older brother, and she's always felt kind of different, and then she meets her best friend, and they're tight, like they're really tight, and they grow up teenagers, and they have each other, so that, you know, they can relate to each other and everything, and then all of a sudden she finds out her best friend likes her brother, so that completely throws her world off, and she feels alone and isolated. She has a horrible relationship with her mother, and uh, the movie really rests on Haley Stanfield's character, who's not a very likable character, but she makes it work through the sense of her acting. She's not a very likable character, and like I said, she feels isolated. She can't talk to her best friend now, who likes her brother, and she can't talk to her brother, who she has an adversarial relationship. She can't talk to her mother, who they always butt heads. So she's basically on her own, and she also confides in a teacher played by Woody Harrelson, who's absolutely hilarious in this. And she also has a classmate. I forgot the actor's name in it, but who actually kind of talks to her, and she kind of bonds with him a little bit. And it's a really good coming of age movie, and it's really, really good, very underrated. Okay, The Edge of 17. Now, the next movie, of course, is Birth of a Nation. I really love that movie. It was just, I mean, it was controversy, you know, and basically in the actor who wrote and directed it, and he had to, unfortunately, he had a rape case in his past, which kind of took the focus off his movie, but his movie itself was powerful. By Nat Turner, by Nate Parker, of course, and it was really a powerful story about rebellion, and very well done. He wrote it and directed it and produced it and raised money for it, I think, and sold it, the rights to it. And it's a really well done, one of these, slave pictures, revolt movies, and it's a really powerful and emotional movie. But again, it got kind of lost because of Nate Parker's personal history, and it kind of interfered with the movie. But the movie itself, with the promotion of the movie, but the movie itself was absolutely fantastic. Nate Parker did a fantastic job, and I hope he doesn't get shut out just because of the controversy. His picture, to me, deserves to be nominated for Best Picture, okay, and he for Best Actor and Director, because he directed it too as well. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let me make sure I check these off as I go along. Okay, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Okay, this is from J.P. Rowling's, the creator of Harry Potter, and this is pre-Harry Potter, and they basically introduce you to the wizard world in the United States, and I thought it was really well done. I forgot the actor's name. I can't remember his name now. Who played the wizard, and he has to, he comes to New York, and his creatures get loose, and he has to find them, and all shenanigans happen, and I really loved the whole world that they, in the whole 1920s, 30s New York world that they opened up, in the whole trying to keep the wizard world secret from regular humans and stuff, and how the humans and the wizard interacted. I thought it was a great beginning for this. I assume this is going to be another trilogy for J.P. Rowling's, but I really liked what they did with it, and it really entertained me all the way through. Okay, so I loved Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Now, the next movie on my list is Don't Breathe. That's a horror movie, of course, and that was by the guy who did the Evil Dead remake, and it's basically about these three teenagers, I guess, in Detroit, and they hear this rumor about this old man who lives in this house in Detroit, and run down part of Detroit, who supposedly whose daughter died and has a settlement, has money in the house, and they decide that they're going to rip him off. Of course, unbeknownst to them, this blind man ain't no ordinary blind man, and plus he is an ally, a dog, and basically they turn the tables on these three teenagers, and they have to basically fight for their lives to survive. And I thought it was very well done by the director. I forgot the director's name, who also did the Evil Dead remake. Did a fantastic job, and this was one of the best horror movies, horror thriller / more like a thriller, that I've seen this year. Definitely worth watching. Okay, the next movie is The Conjuring 2. Of course, I was looking forward to this. James Wan, and this time it takes place in England, about this girl who was being haunted. And again, great job by Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, James Wan. This movie was creepy as all and especially kudos to the young actress who had to play the part of the girl that was getting haunted and terrorized. She, I think, did an excellent job, and that movie was freaky as anything else. And again, another great addition to James Wan. He's a horror master as far as I'm concerned. Okay, now the next movie is The Nice Guys. That was Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. I really love this. It takes place, I think, in the 70s, I believe. I think it was the 70s. Or was it I think it was the 70s. Anyway, Russell Crowe was a sort of a fixer, and Ryan Gosling was like a private detective, and they kind of met together, and they basically had to solve this mysterious case of this girl that everybody was looking for. And it was really, I think this is Shane Black wrote and directed it, and he did a fantastic job. The movie was funny, hilarious, violent, okay, and it really just made you feel like you were back in the 70s. And I like the young actress that played Ryan Gosling's daughter. She was hilarious and droll, and it just made me laugh. It was one of the best movies I thought of this past year. The Nice Guys. Definitely recommend that one. Okay, now the next movie, of course, is Arrival. This is basically starring Amy Adams, Forest Whitaker, and Jeremy Renner. And it's basically these alien ships come down all across the world, and they basically call Amy Adams' character, because she's a expert on languages, and they want to see if she can communicate with these aliens and find out what they want. Okay, and this movie was really it's slow paced in the beginning, but if you watch the movie unfold, it just really took off, and you have to watch the movie and fully pay attention to understand everything that's going on, because the movie, the way it begins, is kind of circles back to that beginning at the end of the movie, without spoiling it too much. And it was really well done, really shot. I mean, there was just one false note to me in the movie, but other than that, excellent performance by Amy Adams and a really good thriller, in my opinion. Okay, and next movie would be The Jungle Book. Okay, and this was the live-action version of The Jungle Book, directed by, I believe, Jon Favreau. Okay, and they did a great job with the CGI, with the animals and stuff, and the voice acting and stuff, and it was really well done, beautifully shot, saw it in 3D, and a really good tale of the classic Disney tale, really brought to life with Mongi and the lions and the animals. That was really well done. Just, I mean, there were moments in the movie that actually, that terrified you. They did a great job with the CGI, and the voice acting was on point, and it really was an excellent movie. Okay, now this next movie on my list is Sing Street. This was a movie took place in England about a young guy who was going to, I think he was going to the new school, and he basically being picked on, and what he basically tried to do was he decided to form a band. His older brother was a musician, and he met this girl. He saw this girl, and he decided, you know what, to impress her, I'm going to form a band. And basically, that's what they do. He actually forms a band, and they actually start taking it seriously. And he actually gets to know the girl, and it's a really good, very underrated movie. I forgot the director who did that movie. He did another movie which I can't remember at the top of my head. But Sing Street, I definitely recommend that one. Really, like a coming of age movie with great songs and stuff and everything in it, and just really great job by the lead actors in that. The lead actor and the lead actress who plays the girl that he's trying to impress. Okay, the next movie on my list is 10 Cloverfield Lane, starring John Goodman and Mary Elizabeth Whitehead. And this is basically takes place in the whole Cloverfield Lane world, such as it is. I know they said it wasn't a direct sequel. It's sort of a prequel in a way, I think. And anyway, it's basically about this girl. She has an accident, Mary Elizabeth Whitehead, and then she wakes up and she's chained in a house where John Goodman and another individual are there, and John Goodman's telling her basically that the world, there's been some epidemic, and it's not safe to go outside, and she's wondering why are they basically stuck down there, and she's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Okay, and it really builds the tension in this movie, and John Goodman is suitably creepy in his part and terrifying at the same time, and Mary Elizabeth Whitehead is really good as this girl desperately trying to figure out what's going on and trying to get away. And it's just really good, very good thriller and a horror movie in a way, in my opinion. Now, speaking of horror movies, this next one on my list is called The Witch, and this one was a really snuck up on. I think it came out in March or April, whenever it came out. But anyway, it takes place in like the Puritan times. In this family, they disagree with their church, and they actually go away. They separate from them. The mother, the father, the two younger kids, and two older two young boy and girl, and an older boy and girl, like I guess preteen, and they isolate themselves, and all of a sudden, weird stuff starts to happen to them, and weird stuff really starts to happen to this family. It affects this family who's basically isolated by themselves. And this movie is suitably creepy and terrifying at the same time, and you'll never look at a goat the same way. It's just a really creepy, really effective horror movie, and really, really frightens you if you watch this. I mean, that's the type of movie that you turn off all the lights and you watch it, and that movie will freak you out. Okay, just really well done, very underrated. Okay, next movie. And another movie I wanted to talk about is Star Trek Beyond. Okay, I thought that this movie, the third Star Trek that came out, that wasn't directed by J.J. Abrams, I thought it was one of the best movies of the year. And again, it was like it felt like an old school Star Trek. It felt like a Star Trek episode actually. Actually with the ship being destroyed and them being separated, and all of them doing their separate things, and Kirk, being on his own, and Spock and Bones being on their own, and then coming together, and it felt like old school Star Trek. And then plus, the only negative to me, I guess, in the movie would be that Idris Elba, you couldn't quite tell it was him until the big reveal, towards the end of the movie, and it was a Star Trekian reveal that, of course, that he was actually a former, member, but it felt like old school Star Trek in a way. It really felt like an old school Star Trek uh, episode. It really did feel that way, which really made it really enjoyable to me, Star Trek Beyond. So that's why I think it's one of my favorites for this past year. Okay, so of course is Deadpool by Ryan Reynolds. Excellent movie, excellent adaptation. Of course, this movie is, of course, based on the X-Men character, and Ryan Reynolds was born to play Deadpool. What more can you say? This movie was funny, hilarious, violent, everything that you want a Deadpool movie to be. Okay, and just perfect use of the X-Men, great villain, great hero, so funny all the way through, and just an excellent adaptation. Ryan Reynolds, they knocked it out of the park with this movie. Now, I know that the same director's not coming back for the sequel, so hopefully they can keep up the same level of humor and action and just absolutely funny. And hopefully, like I said, with Ryan Reynolds, hopefully they'll keep up the same level when they make the sequel, because this Deadpool was just definitely one of the best hits of the year. Okay, now this next movie, of course, on my list is Captain America: Civil War. What can you say? This is a movie I was looking forward to. Of course, this is based somewhat loosely on the comic story Civil War. Basically, Iron Man against Captain America, and the government's trying to rein in the superheroes, and they want them to register. And of course, Cap is not going for it. Of course, Iron Man wants to go for it, which is ironic considering he's always rebelled against the government. But then they have their, they have their class, and they actually drawn into fight by an outside force, Baron Zemo, who gets them basically to start fighting each other. And the airport sequence is absolutely fantastic. One of the best action sequence set pieces, this year of all time, probably, to see that. And of course, you get the debut of the new Spider-Man in this movie, which adds to it, and just a great end. Of course, the great scene at the end where they're fighting, just absolutely fantastic movie. Again, the Russo brothers have really, I like Captain America as a comic book character. I collected a few as a comic, but the Russo brothers have really, gotten a handle on Captain America. They really make the movies, and again, because I never thought a Captain America movie would be, and I think Captain America movies are the best out of the Marvel movies. I really do. I think they're the best ones made from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The second one in Civil War have been the best ones made from the studios. The Russo brothers have just captured Cap perfectly. Okay, and kudos to Chris Evans for just capturing the character just right. I mean, he just plays it to perfection. Okay. Okay, now the next movie, of course, is Zootopia. It's on my list. Okay, this is a great adaptation of a world about an animated tale about a bunny who wants to be a law enforcement officer in Zootopia, this city, this whole realized city. And this was an excellent adaptation of they create this whole new world where animals are basically functioning as regular. You got animals functioning in a regular society, and it's just excellent voice work, beautiful animation. You got a mystery. You got Jason Bateman and I think Jennifer Goodwin. She plays the bunny, and it's just a fantastic, probably the best animated movie this year for sure. It's just a perfect adaptation of this whole world, and Zootopia was just fantastic. I mean, I loved everything about it. It's just, there was a mystery involved in it, okay, and they actually told a good story, and it wasn't just some silly animated movie. There was actually a story and a point to it, and really well done. This whole Zootopia world was greatly realized, and it was fantastic. I love Zootopia. Okay, now next movie on my list is Rogue One. Okay, which I saw a little while ago. Rogue One, excellent movie. Uh, this felt like old Star Wars to me when as I said in my review. Uh, it was just absolutely an excellent adaptation of what came before Star Wars Episode 4, and I love the way they used Darth Vader in this movie. They used him just enough, and of course they did Peter Cushing, the way they had an actor, and plus with CGI and all that stuff, they actually had his character in this movie, which really totally came out of left field to me. I didn't expect his character to be in it, but they actually used his character in this movie and did a fantastic job with it. And then also, of course, I didn't expect with R2D2 and C3PO, of course, that was, I guess, to be expected. But then they had a thing with Princess Leia at the end where they did that thing where they actually made her look younger, so like they did a CGI of Carrie Fisher. And then, of course, the badass scene towards the end where they show Darth Vader just kicking ass and taking names. That scene was just freaking awesome. Okay, and I love the ragtag group of people that came together to try to to steal the plans for the. And I love the relationship between the father, Jyn Erso, and her father. I thought that was one of the strengths of the movie and stuff. You could tell, especially that scene where she sees the hologram of her father explained to her, and you see her emotions out of Felicity Jones, the emotions on her face, her reacting to that, it was just really made you feel for that. And so that's why I thought this movie was classic. It fit perfectly in with the Star Wars. Garth Edwards did a fantastic job, and they definitely should let him direct another Star Wars movie because he did a fantastic job, in my opinion. Okay, now of course next movie is going to be, of course, controversial. Okay, well, actually, no, before I get to that one, Fences, which I saw yesterday after work. Fences, Denzel Washington, Viola Davis. It was an adaptation from August Wilson's play, which they started with on Broadway, and Denzel Washington directed this movie. I thought this movie again was excellent. Denzel Washington again, he directed it, and of course starred in it as a man that's not likable, who's trying to raise his family in 1950s America. Dealing with all his past failures and trying to raise his son and work his job and trying to survive. And he plays a character they're not very likable. He has his moments, but again, he's trying to do the best that he can. But again, his character is not very sympathetic character. When you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's certain instances where you see he's very hard on his son, and he's trying to instill a lesson on him, and it's a very complex relationship. Him and his two sons, specifically his younger son, and it's a really great performance by Denzel Washington and Viola Davis. They both, I think, should be nominated for Academy Awards, in my opinion, and the film as well. I just thought this was I know a lot of people sometimes, when they adapt plays to movies, because plays usually are very wordy, and I thought they did a good job adapting this, as a movie. Okay, and again, one of the best movies of the year, in my opinion. Now, this next movie, of course, is controversial, of course. And of course, I'm talking about Batman v Superman, okay, which is, one of my favorite movies of this year, especially the uncut version, okay. And now I know a lot of people either hate it or like it. And as I said in my countless videos, I think I did on this, I like what Zack Snyder did with this story, of course. And I like the director's cut because you got to see more of Clark Kent in it, and you got to see more of his point of view in this, and you got to see more of Lex Luthor's plan. And I really liked this adaptation. I like that they tried to do something different with Superman. Of course, I know a lot of people didn't like. They said, "Oh, Superman should be happy. Superman shouldn't be dark like Batman." But I don't think Superman was dark like Batman. I think Superman was just struggling to figure out his place in the world. Okay, and a lot of people didn't like that. They want Superman to be sunny and to be the beacon of hope and stuff, which I think he will be in the Justice League movies and stuff and going forward. But I think to get Superman to that place, this stuff had to happen. And I thought Ben Affleck, again, was a great casting choice, because I didn't think about Ben Affleck when they were discussing who was going to play Batman. They said Batman v Superman, and we were talking about who's going to play Batman. And when I heard Ben Affleck, I was like, but Ben Affleck really, from the first trailers you've seen, and then when you actually saw the movie, Ben Affleck to me did a fantastic job. He was the perfect Bruce Wayne Batman. He was just absolutely killed it in this role. And of course, again, Gal Gadot, who I didn't want her to be Wonder Woman either. I didn't think about her being Wonder Woman. I thought she was too skinny. But again, she knocked it out of the park again, which shows again that Zack Snyder knew what he was talking about when he cast these two people. And I think on the strength of those two people, sure. And I know a lot of people hated uh, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Okay, not me. I didn't hate him. Okay, again, I wanted maybe Bryan Cranston as well, but for what Zack Snyder and them were going for, it made sense that he cast Jesse Eisenberg. And I love that speech he makes to Superman when he's on the roof, and Superman basically is getting ready to arrest him, and he makes that speech and he's throwing pictures of his mother at him. And again, I thought Jesse Eisenberg killed it, to me, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people hate Batman v Superman. A lot of people like it, and I'm in the camp that likes it. I'm sorry. To me, it's one of the best movies of the year. I love the fight between Batman and Superman. I thought that fight was freaking awesome. Again, I thought Ben Affleck killed it, especially in those scenes where he was basically kicking Superman's ass and talking to. I just thought he was just fantastic, and I love that fight. That fight is one of the best live-action Batman fights ever in the warehouse when he goes to rescue Martha Wayne. That's one of the best fights ever, period, hands down. Okay, nobody can tell me that fight. You've seen a better Batman fight. That fight was freaking awesome. Okay, so that's why Batman v Superman is on my best of the year. I know it won't be on a lot of people's list because they're gonna be a dick. But what are you gonna do? Okay, now the next movie on my list is let me see, make sure I got my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, I know what. I'm gonna say I was baiting this last one. I'm gonna go Finding Dory. Yeah, Finding Dory. I'm gonna go Finding Dory. When they announced they were gonna make a sequel to Finding Nemo, I thought, again, why would they make a sequel to that? All these years later, and they actually made a good story about Dory basically trying to find her family. And of course, her with her short-term memory problems. I thought this movie was sweet and genuine, and a really nice continuation of that tale. They did a really good job, a lot better job than I thought they would do with Finding Dory, and it really struck me how good they made it. It was, you have to be a cold person not to see that the character, especially when they were showing Dory as a young fish, and she was with her parents and all that stuff. It made everything that much sweeter when she did reunite with her parents. And I liked Finding Dory. I thought it was just an excellent continuation of the saga. Okay, now my number one movie, okay, of this year, my favorite movie this year, is Moonlight. Okay, I saw that movie a couple of last month, I think. Might have been last month, I think. Yeah, last month. But anyway, Moonlight. This movie is basically about a kid growing up in Miami, and they show him through basically 3 stages of his life. And him, growing up, his mother was addicted to drugs, and he's being bullied at school, and he's trying to basically navigate through life. And also at the same time, they also touch upon a subject that they don't touch upon a lot. That's kind of taboo in the Black community: homosexuality. They do touch upon that as well in this movie. And I think they did a great job. The actors did a great job, especially I think the middle actor who played the character in his teen years. You feel so much for this character. He just goes through so much stuff in his life and just trying to keep his head above water. He has sort of like a surrogate family that kind of takes care of him, this drug dealer, and his girlfriend kind of takes care of him when his mother is, cracking out and stuff. And he gets bullied in school, and he's just trying to survive, and all the stuff that he has to go through and they go through 3 stages of his life: when he's a little kid, when he's a teenager, and then when he's a young adult. And it's a powerful movie. It just really made me emotional watching it, and I think it's the best movie of the year. It just really touched me right here, Moonlight, and I can't recommend that movie more than enough. And it should win. Hopefully, it should win or at least get nominated for Best Picture. I think Moonlight is just powerful. A great job by the writer director. Just oh my God, you got to see Moonlight. I can't recommend Moonlight more. Yeah, see that movie. Okay, so that's my top 20 movies of 2016 that I like. Again, my channel, my rules. So that's why I'm doing 20 instead of top 10. Okay, and that's why I didn't do them in a particular order, except I wanted to make sure the movie that I thought was the best movie of the year, Moonlight, I saved that for last. Again, Moonlight, the best picture, in my opinion, of this year. Anyway, I'm going to also do a worst movies of 2016. That list to be shorter. Anyway, let me know what you think of my list. Feel free to leave comments down below. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button down below. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.